The Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana serving notice dated the 17th of September 2024, addressed to the Ministry of Health, specifically to the Minister of Energy, Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, the Minister of National Security, the Chief Director, Ministry of Health, Chief Executive Officer of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission, Executive Secretary of the National Labour Commission, Registrar Mortuaries and Funeral Facilities Agency, and then all members, mortuary workers, heirs, drivers, and undertakers. They have all received their copies, and this is a notice for the closure of all mortuaries in the Republic of Ghana, as in Section 159 of Act 651 of 2003, that's the Labour Law. And it reads, notice is hereby specifically served on your high office that starting from Thursday, the 26th of September 2024, that's today, mortuary workers shall exercise their rights as guaranteed in the 1992 Constitution by withdrawing all services. This action is necessitated by some pressing demands which the employer has, in our opinion, deliberately ignored. These demands have been in the domain of the employer for some time now. 1, provision of adequate personal protective equipment, salary arrears from 2020, request for financial clearance for the employment of just 500 mortuary workers, and the last but definitely not least, COVID-19 bonus for mortuary workers as announced by President of the Republic. COVID-19 bonus for mortuary workers. COVID scanner, but we can't find the bonus for the mortuary workers. This, if by the said date our employer does not take positive steps to resolve the grievance. Okay, so they have served notice. The Ministry of Employment Labour Relations, Dorcas Eya, received it on the 19th of September 2024. The Mortuaries and Funeral Facilities Agency, MOFA, received this letter on the 19th of September. Frida also received this on behalf of the minister, and there's also Millicent that received it. So everybody has received, everybody has signed. Laurentia, everybody has signed that they received this particular notice, and we don't have a response yet. Helen, the mortuary workers, they say they are going on strike and they will shut all mortuaries. This will be chaotic.
Very, 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 very chaotic. I mean, the sad thing about death is you can't postpone it. You don't know when it's coming, and we can't put it on hold whilst this is all sorted out. So more people die every day. People are born, people die as well. And if you see the conditions that they're having to deal with at the moment, coupled with their lack of funding, the arrears, the COVID-19 funds that were, or allocations that were promised to them that never happened. But other people benefited from COVID-19 funds, even though they were not in the line of fire. At the time when people were dying from COVID-19, it was one of the most dangerous endeavors, most dangerous jobs to be a part of, because we know whatever pathogens, I don't know the terminology, were still in the body. So to be around a deceased body that has suffered from COVID-19 was no joke at all. And Johnny, when you read out the statement, you have those who drive the vehicles. It's not just those who are in the mortuary bathing and whatever, embalming and so on and so forth. There's a lot of other people also involved in this. And well, time without number, we see that unless you demonstrate, and even when you hit the streets, your demands might not be met.
Well, Section 159 of the Labour Act and 651 of 2003 says that notice of intention to resort to strike or lockout where A, the parties fail to agree to refer the dispute to voluntary arbitration, or B, the dispute remains unresolved at the end of the arbitration proceedings. Either party intending to take strike action or institute lockout shall give notice written of this to the other party and the commission within 7 days after failure to agree to refer the dispute to voluntary arbitration or the termination of the proceedings. So that's what it says. And I think that by the letter dated the 17th of September, today is the 26th, that portion of Section 159 of Act 652, the Labour Act, has been fulfilled. So they are within their rights to do this lockdown. I'm looking at the ramifications of what it means if touchwood somebody dies now and the person has to be taken to the morgue and the mortuaries are shut down just because their salaries dating back from 2020 have not been paid. They're looking forward to getting clearance to hire 500 people.
That's right.
It's not been granted. COVID-19 bonuses for those of them who were frontline health workers have still not been paid. And they say their salaries and there's some bargaining agreement that they have all not been paid. Now, if the mortuaries are locked, we will be in deep waters, and very hot waters at that.
That's right.
Well, Godwin Asidiba has been looking around the mortuaries. He has 2 documentaries that we'll share with you in a bit. It's 26 minutes after 8 here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Johnny Hughes. Let's take a listen to, and for those of you who are following and monitoring on 3FM 927 on Facebook as well as X and Instagram, you get a chance to see the visuals. Let me warn you ahead, though, that some of them could be very graphic. We'll see that, and then we'll get back into the studio to have a conversation with Godwin Asidiba.
For the umpteenth time, mortuary attendants have gone on strike to demand better conditions of service. The General Secretary of the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana, Richard Jordan, revealed that some attendants at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital are developing serious health complications, with others losing their lives.
Serious. We've lost over 30 in a year. Kolebu has lost 3 people in just this year. They are all dying everywhere. So many mess. So everybody is sick at the mortuary. In fact, there's nobody I can say is physically fit. If we should do a test on all of them now, I can tell you, is either the person is visually going impaired, is either the person is actually having a problem with his waist because of the lifting, the legs, or the person is having some kind of kidney problem or maybe some lungs problem. We are working in very unconducive environment which is not fit for purpose. Many of them have been neglected beyond human use.
Back inside the Kolebu mortuary, Kawe, not her real name, now in her 11th year as a mortuary attendant, continues to face stigma and isolation.
Yeah, Brankasa. So someone will pass away, if whether it's HIV, tuberculosis, you don't know what kind of sickness is taking this person to his early or his grave. But that's your work for you to do. So please, the governments to come to our head and listen to us. We have tried to talk to them severally, but no response.
92.7. The smell in here is absolutely unbearable. You can't be able to stay around for more than a minute. Now, it is alleged that the wastewater from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, together with its morgue, flows through its channels where it finally passes through this bigger drain which connects to the Kole Lagoon and finally settles in at the sea. This is unhealthy and poses serious health risk to the populace.
Well, so that's Godwin Asidiba's documentary there. Godwin is joining us in studio. Godwin, good morning. How are you doing?
Good morning.
And I've had cause to ask my good friend Mustafa Salifo about this water that is from the mortuary that enters the Kole Lagoon. We know that we've spent some money on the Kole Lagoon Ecological Restoration Program, and yet we still have this going on there. This is not good at all. I mean, do you think that this is the last place you spend your time before you go to the cemetery? This is not good. I mean, what prompted this documentary, by the way?
All right. So 2 years after I had done a first piece on the mortuary, a lot of people reacted to the story due to the grim scenario. I had questions from people asking what has been the state of the facility after you went there. Due to the experience that I had gone through personally, it wasn't an environment that I would want to find myself in again.
Quite traumatizing.
Exactly. It got to a point where I felt it was a story that I needed to revisit. So I took up the decision, went there, I mean, they wouldn't allow me to film, obviously, so it was done under investigative, style. So going in there, I realized that it had gone from bad to worse, and it was something that I felt should be brought to light again, because 2 years after such a big story was told, a lot of people reacting to it, resource persons, NGOs, I thought there would have been a massive renovation there. So going there to see what it had turned to, it was actually really heartbreaking, and I had to retell the story again.
Today the morticians and all the mortuary workers are declaring a strike if their demands are not met immediately. It would mean that the already bad situation will become worse and even much more than we can describe.
That's true.
Did you get the impression that the mortuaries were under pressure?
They are, because when you go to the cold rooms, they have these shelves that are supposed to contain just a body. So they are in boxes. So a body is supposed to be in one shelf. One shelf can have about 3 bodies squeezed in there. Aside that, the beneath part of the shelf, which is supposed to be a space maybe for air, for much ventilation, for the bodies to be able to be preserved better, you find out that they've pushed a lot of bodies stuck under that particular portion. You come to the other side as well, where they've piled quite a number of bodies, males, females, they've piled them up. So a place that is supposed to be a cold room is not being cold enough because it's under pressure to be able to.
There's more capacity coming in than what it can contain.
Exactly.
And that's where the problem is.
Exactly.
Because I know the situation you are trying to describe. The boxes that are, well, if you like, the compartments that are supposed to have one body to each. And then the space underneath that's supposed to, if there's any water dripping or that's supposed to collect it and then channel it into a canal and it goes. You say all those spaces are filled with human bodies. Of
course. Yeah. And you realize that some of the bodies too are deteriorating. There was a picture that I saw of something up the shelf that looked like a skeleton. I didn't want to have my eyes stuck at a particular spot for a very long time, because I will always have a reflection of that particular picture all the time. So I quickly took my eyes off that. But there are places where you see a lot of babies that are put at a certain place, and their diapers, their complexion is changing, basically deteriorating. They are rotting away, and it's just
the place where you did the piece to camera. I mean, that canal, it leads to the Korle Lagoon, and then into the sea. So the fishes are being fed with water or residue from
human waste,
decomposing human bodies, etc. That's the situation. Did you ask about that?
Yes, I did.
And what was the response you got from the hospital authorities?
When I spoke to the CEO, Poma, he mentioned that they are aware of the situation and they are also working towards that. Apparently, after the first documentary broke, there were meetings to get the facility renovated. It got to a point where some monies were supposed to be given for a new morgue to be built, so that this one will be turned into a city morgue. According to him, because we don't have a city morgue in Ghana, most people end up bringing their bodies there, unidentified ones, and all of this will end up at the
accident
facility.
Victims, etc.
So they pay for all of that. So at this point, the situation in a way goes beyond the hospital, because you pay for these bodies, mass burial, everything is being done by the hospital itself. So he mentioned that with regards to the drainage issue, the facility has been there for over 100 years, definitely will need a renovation. So they are working, having interviews with the World Bank, which maybe can come in to help in terms of that. But the International Center for Antimicrobial Resistant Solutions has also conducted a research on how wastewater from the hospital is polluting the lagoon.
The Korle Lagoon,
And they've revealed that the lagoon is highly polluted. In this documentary, I got the opportunity to engage some fishermen who practice their fishing right at the point where the Korle Lagoon connects
the
to
confluence.
The sea. Yes, and they mentioned that they are aware that the mortuary water comes there, but in the evening, the fishes from the sea, in the evening the water rises to a certain level where the fish comes back
That's
to
right.
the lagoon
That's
to
right.
eat. That's according to the fishermen. And that's the point. They also come there to do their trap to catch the fish. Sometimes they become sick and they don't even know what's the cause of their sicknesses. There are other fishmongers who also buy the fish to sell it to close by.
We used to go harvest what do you call it, tilapia and all those stuff from there. I mean, then it wasn't as terrible as it is now. You could actually see.
It's been over 100 years, so it could be you might have even had a taste of.
Oh no! I mean, there's no debate about it. I mean, if there's no debate about it because
Right,
we used to go. I mean, along the Kolilago, all through where the ICGC church is, we used to play football. At the Sodom and Gomorrah area, we called it Sahara at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was a big bare land like the desert, which is why it was called Sahara at the time.
Yeah.
And we used to go and fish for golden fish, as we called it then, and all those small fingerlings from it. Then I don't think that it was this pronounced.
Yeah.
Now it's really, really pronounced. And the fishermen telling you that they sometimes get ill and they don't know what's making them ill. And you go to that area, the stench around that area. Tell me what your experience was.
The stench is actually something that no one would want to experience because it hits you really hard. It hits you really, really hard. I'm talking about the morgue.
3FM,
Immediately you enter there, it has this unique smell.
That's right.
It combines the body decaying smell, formalin,
all those things.
and all of those things, and even the equipment that these people use in doing their work.
92.7.
Talking about the bowl that they put the formalin in, the right PPs to wear.
Right.
For the past 2 years, I've gone there and I've seen a man wearing the same mask that he's been using for 2 years.
Wow.
They have this big
Like the
one.
goggles.
Exactly. And when I saw it, it was very brownish. You could tell it's stained and contaminated. And I was wondering why a person would have to use,
Something like that.
for like years. And this is because they are unable to get these equipment from the hospital.
PPEs are one of the demands they're
Exactly.
making.
If you want to change it, then it means that you would have to
Buy
take
it
your own
yourself.
money and buy it yourself. How long would you continue?
I'm
to do
learning that some of them get paid 300 Ghana cedis.
Of course. And they are not even being paid every month. There's a lady that I spoke to, 2 years ago. I named her Kawe in the documentary, but that is
Right.
not her name.
Right.
When I spoke to her in that documentary, together with other mortuary attendants, they were queried after the premiere of the documentary because the facility was not happy with them,
Right.
sharing that they are working under bad conditions and they are not even being paid every month.
Right.
Mind you, there are some also in the morgue who are volunteering, like area boys who have nothing doing,
Right.
just find it fascinating to come into the morgue and help the mortuary attendants work with no experience at all. So they made mention that they have demonstrated, they have went on numerous strikes and nothing is being done about their situation. This time around, none of them was willing to engage me in the documentary because they had a feeling that when the documentary comes out and it gains the same attention like the other one, they might undergo the same process that did some years back.
They could be
and-
punished for speaking the truth.
But you go there and then you see that these workers are so passionate about their work. Everyone is busy doing what they're supposed to do. But the facility itself in which that they work under is not safe. It's not right.
The repercussions. I mean, I'm sure that the day you went there to do the documentary, you saw the influx of, bodies coming in, people bringing in their dead relatives, friends, family, etc. If the mortuaries are shut down today, what could happen? What do you envisage?
See, I don't know if I can find the right words to describe this, but this is a morgue that it's claiming to be functional. Bodies are deteriorating. There are flies there.
Right.
You see moving maggots on the floor at every point in
Right.
the morgue. A mortuary that is functional with people working there. Now imagine it being closed for just 2 days. A body that is already producing maggots,
Right.
emanating pungent smell.
Left unattended to for 2 days.
Exactly. So just imagine it. there is nothing more I can say to this, but when a body comes in, it easily absorbs air and
it starts bloating.
Exactly. And that is where the embalmment and other processes come to be able to preserve it a little. Some bodies have undergone such processes, but they are still decaying. So now these are bodies that are coming, the human intestines, the brain, everything is still in there, and it's going to be lying there for just 2 days. And trust me, I'm sure this strike will go beyond 2 days, because our system is structured in such a way that when people go on strike, we don't act on it immediately until we start to see certain challenges.
As we speak, NCC is on strike, but we are all pretending that we haven't heard, and it's only 62 days to the big election. We know what role they have to play in terms of educating the public and the civic responsibilities and rights and etc.
Right.
So you are right when you say that we don't immediately respond to some of these things, and the demands they are making are very specific. You mentioned PPEs. They're asking for PPEs.
Yeah.
They are asking for more staff because they can't just be working with area boys. They need people who are qualified, willing, and committed to do the work.
Right.
Not just people who will come around because relatives will say, "Oh, help me," so that I give you something small for you to survive.
Yeah.
They are looking for their salaries, which have been in arrears since 2020, and then they are also looking for COVID-19 bonus packages that were promised them in 2020 as well. These are the 4 demands they are making. It doesn't look like it's going to happen now.
And you saw how Richard Jordan spoke. He was very aggressive and he meant what he was saying.
As a spokesperson for the Mortuary Workers Association.
And for the 18th time they've gone on strikes, he told me this time around they are not going to listen to anything. This is supposed to be like one of their biggest strikes that they will ever have in this country. Maybe if there's another 1 year to come, but he said they are not, if they lay down their tools, they wouldn't be back soon until all their problems are resolved.
Helen,
I just want to find out, what are the numbers that we're talking about? I'm not sure if you've...
in terms of
the workers, how many are we looking at?
I don't think I have a grasp of that, but we have quite a number of them across the country.
So it's countrywide?
Yes, so the workers are 37, the workers at Kolebu, the workers at Komfanoche, Ifian Kwanta, Government Hospital, Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, Tamale Teaching Hospital, Kofridia Government Hospital, all those hospitals that have mortuaries, they are all shutting down, and that is not good.
It's not.
That is not good at all. Gordon, before we let you go, we're trying to raise the spokesperson on the phone line, but it looks like he's quite busy. These stories, do they get the attention of the duty bearers?
They do.
And what did they do about it? The first one you did, for example, they explain things away, and that's it. And I hate it when duty bearers try to explain things away.
That's why I mentioned that sometimes the situation goes beyond the facility itself. Let's take the CEO of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, for instance. He's a CEO, someone who has had experiences, climbed the ladder to where he is at the moment. He knows about the situation when he was a baby in the facility, crawling his way up till now. And all his successors have not been able to tackle the situation. Probably they might have had talks on it to resolve it, because their health personnel, when they see something that is bad, they see it and they know it. When I engaged him, he mentioned that they've had quite a number of meetings on the renovation of the morgue, but it gets to a point where it's exhausting when you would have to be following up every single day. Now we have a conversation, finally arrive at a decision at the top that this is what we are supposed to do, allocate some funding for that, and the money is stuck somewhere that you, the CEO of the facility, cannot even do anything about it. So you've tried your best in having the conversations, explain to the right people that this is the reason why we need to get this and this done. Now it has gotten there, we've finalized, and we are waiting for the money to start the implementation, and then the money is not coming. So it goes beyond the facility.
Well, today is the day the CEO's contract ends. He's looking for a contract extension, I understand. The big boys at Kolebu are also saying, well, if you give him a contract extension, we will go on strike. The police have agreed to the strike. Let's see how things pan out. It's 44 minutes after 8 here. We'll talk about some Ghanaians who were told that they were going to have jobs in Ukraine, specifically security and agri jobs. Now they are on the front line doing who's they say, who are. We'll tell you about it on return from this musical break. We sincerely do hope that we find some answers to the questions that are being asked by the Mortuary Workers Association of Ghana so they don't go on strike. Because if they do, they shut down the mortuaries, it will be terrible for all of us. 12 minutes to the top of the hour 9. Gordon Asiriba is still here with us. And he did another story on the Ghanaians who were told by one-man supporter, actually, taking you to Ukraine, I'm going to get you jobs, agric-related jobs and security-related jobs, only for them to get there. And then they now find themselves on the front line of the Russia-Ukraine war. One of the things that our government has made too many excuses with. Let's take a listen, and then for those of you who watch on Facebook, here you go.
14 young men from Ghana embarked on a journey they believed would change their lives forever. Lured by promises of secure, well-paying jobs in Russia, these men left their families behind with hopes of building a better future. But what was meant to be a life-changing opportunity turned out to be their worst nightmare.
Again, an uncompleted building, and then this is one of the buildings they destroyed.
Okay.
Let me show you around. Max will go on, man. Check inside. Check on, man. Check inside.
It all began on Sunday, August 4, 2024, when the men said their goodbyes and boarded a plane filled with dreams of success and providing for their loved ones. They arrived in Russia on August 6 through Togo. Their hearts were filled with anticipation, but from the moment they touched down, things took a chilling turn. Upon arrival, they were whisked off to
Kostroma, a city in western Russia, to sign what they thought would be employment contracts. Instead, they found themselves faced with a grim reality. The young men say they were deceived by a contractor who had promised them these opportunities, a man known as Abraham Boakye, popularly known as one-man supporter in Ghana. Abraham, the man they had trusted, now seemed to be their worst enemy.
Abraham Boakye, popularly known as one-man supporter. He brought us here.
Right.
He told us there is a job opportunity over here in Russia, which is security work and then agriculture.
Okay.
So we paid for our own plane ticket and then visa fee. The military people brought us a contract to sign. And then before, he told us that it's a security work, but we'll be trained by the military.
Right.
So when the military people brought the contract, we thought it's the training that they are coming to train us. The contract, we are coming. The day we were signing, he was not around. He was in Moscow. So we called him and told him that I'm the contract are ready to sign. Should we sign? Because he is the one who brought us here. And he said, oh, we'll sign.
As of September 17, when I spoke with 3 of the remaining survivors, they were trapped in Donetsk, Ukraine, awaiting orders to be sent to the front line of the war.
2 people out of the 14 said, the commander said they are going to front war, so they should prepare. The next day they are going. Up to now, we've not heard from them. You can't go out anywhere, even if you are going to private. The security, the military escorts you.
Their situation is beyond dire. Their passports have been seized, and the 14 who left Ghana together have now been reduced to just 3.
Where are the remaining people?
We don't know where they are. Just yesterday, they came to take 2 people out of me.
And you don't know where you're going to next?
We don't know where they are going to. Right now, as I'm talking to you, we are in Donetsk. But then I don't know the exact place we are in Donetsk.
The others have disappeared. The only contact they've had is from David Edu, one of the men who managed to get in touch, urging the remaining 3 to escape at any cost. They live in constant fear, stuck in a makeshift shelter, unsure who will be next to be sent to fight.
And that boom, watch that boom, and that boom. Yes, we need a holding behind in training behind with my good Nazan Adiana. TSM, Pamacho, Mutia, Mum, Fine Fear. Why, Pamacho? Be a dance with your lady, yet that, and we also the Pauso. But the Unyal.
As if the physical and emotional torment weren't enough, they revealed that Abraham Boakye had already taken his cut from each of them, 130,000 rubles from each of the 14 men. They were each paid 400,000 rubles for a war that never agreed to fight. These men are desperate to return home, alive if possible, but their future remains as uncertain as ever.
My family is in Accra, but then I've not told my mom about it because my mom is suffering from stroke and BP. If I should tell her about it right now, you know what is going to happen.
Efforts to reach Abraham Boakye for his side of the story have, however, proved futile. Despite repeated attempts to get him to address the serious accusations leveled against him by the young men, he remains unreachable, leaving many unanswered questions. Godwin Asidiba, TV3 News.
The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM. The best in the morning is on 92.7 Sunrise on 3FM.
Odo esisi me indeed. Odo adada me. Odo edi me wo. Oh. love. He's cheated on me. He's lied to me. Blame me wicked. Blame me white. So these people, how did they believe one man supporter to follow him to Ukraine?
I'm sure he's already been able to give some people the opportunities to travel, because these supporters, when things come up, they can easily use the opportunity to leave the country. So that was enough proof for them. And being able to acquire a Russian visa for them easily was also something that would make them trust him.
So they're fighting for Russia or Ukraine?
They're fighting for Russia.
They're fighting for Russia?
Yeah.
And your Macau?
That's what they're doing. So when they got there and then they went to Kostroma, finally giving their documents to sign, it was written in Russian, which none of them understood. So they called one man supporter to explain to him, and he told them to go ahead and sign it.
But he had not read what the gentleman had signed.
No, according to them.
But he told them to go ahead and sign.
Yes, according to them, he said, "Ademunji Mindiana, Monkoson sign it." That's according to the men.
I see.
Exactly what. Yes. So
he told them to agree to the terms that one man supporter had not read, and they who were going to sign did not also understand.
Yes, that is according to the men. That's what he said. So after signing, they underwent a 21-day training. Finally ended up somewhere in Donetsk, Ukraine, where they are at the moment.
Right.
Because of the war, most of the buildings are just hanging in there. So they are in a certain makeshift space. Just hanging in there like that. They were 5 in number. They were all 14 in number actually. And they were dispersed to different front lines.
Right.
The person that I am in touch with, there were 5. 2 of them were taken to the front line, and the person was brought back after the story broke, because they said a commander there was questioning them, asking them the reason why they were telling Ghanaians, that they are not comfortable, they want to go back home. What was the reason? And they said, their brothers are gone for a very long time and they are not hearing from them. They are scared. And we all know what can happen at the front line. So they brought them back, but they got back to me again saying that they might be going there, and this time around it's going to be all the 5. All the 5. So the 3 that were remaining at the makeshift structure, when I was interacting with them, they've shared with me that it's not like they're being treated badly, but they are fed well. They've actually received their first pay. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, which is quite an amount. And they are very much okay. But the scare is them going to the front line. One of them who returned mentioned that the front line is from Alaju to Kaswa, like by foot. So you're walking in there. Sometimes there are stuff planted on the floor that you can easily step on, and then it will just take over you. So they have an experienced military person who leads their journey. So let's say if we are not watching so well and then you step on anything, your life can go within a second.
A landmine or something, you're gone.
Exactly. So it's like just hanging in the balance, not knowing exactly what can happen.
Have you tried to reach out to one man supporter?
I've tried reaching him.
And what did you find?
We've gone to his office at Tesano.
He has an office for these kind of things.
He a one man supporter is like a union. For the Black Stars.
I know.
Yes, so they have an office, and that's where he operates.
But that's not the office for the visa thing.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So we went there after the story broke. We haven't been able to get him. I've been there twice. You go to his home too, he's not around. I've been able to speak to the families before their relatives left. They were in touch with one man supporter. In Ghana, when someone gives your child such an opportunity, you would want to go and thank him and all of that. They were in good terms, but after the incident happened, the families have tried reaching him. It proved futile. They've reported the case to the police. On September 20, where the police gave the family and one man supporter to come to the police station, the family got there finally, and a lawyer. That was the day after the story aired and people were reacting to it. So a lawyer of one man supporter, according to the family members, said that the lawyer called the police CID, who relayed the information to them, that the lawyer reached out in the morning and said one man supporter had gone back to Russia through Togo, just the same way the other men left. And what was the purpose?
Tell me.
To bring them back.
He is going to bring them back.
Yes. And it is alleged, but I'm hearing from those stuck in there that when one man supporter got to Russia, they detained him for some days and deported him back to Ghana.
They didn't allow him entry into Russia.
No, because I'm sure they are aware of the story. It's quite big in Russia now. We spoke to a community leader in Russia who has actually also revealed that most Ghanaian men have come and died at the front line that no one knows about. Some are able to escape and come back to Moscow with broken limbs. About 2 or 3 are always lucky to always come back. And then because their passports are seized right after the signing of the contract, it will be very hard for you to be able to make your way back into the country. So when they take them back into their embassy, I don't know how they go about it, but they have a way that they do that. They bring you back to Ghana. I've reached out to some Ghanaians also who have undergone such experiences. Others were shot in the leg, and that's also another story that will be airing soon.
Okay, so let's connect on the phone with Adib Sani Jatike. Adib, good morning. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam, my brother Johnny. How are you?
I am greater than Accra, Adib.
Alhamdulillah.
Adib, you tell me, what will make Ghanaians run away from their country in search of agric and security jobs elsewhere in this day and age? I mean, comparable to Ghana, does Ghana not have more arable lands than Russia and Ukraine?
Well, I'm just coming from Tamale. And in Tamale, I spoke with a number of young men who all expressed interest in traveling abroad. And anytime I have the opportunity, I tell them, no, you can still be in Ghana and be rich. Because Ghana is a rich country. There's so much money here. And when I arrived yesterday, I went to Osu. And one of the security guys, directing me to park my car, I had a word with him. I like interacting with people. Immediately, he started talking about him wanting to go to the UK because he's lost hope. Last week, I was in town, and I spoke with a young man. I mean, he approached me. He was like, what is the secret to success? And I told him, just love what you do and do what you love. And commit. Okay? And he was like, no, the way things are going for him, he wants to travel out. So you see, it's a plethora of issues, but I mean, the most important of it is the fact that a lot of young men have uncertainty because of the lack of jobs. They say the unemployment rate currently in Ghana is 14.7. Youth unemployment is higher. Human insecurity is still a major issue in the country. And the number of people we have seen in recent years, especially even professionals, nurses, doctors, teachers, and people who have special hand skills, is quite shocking. All right, so I am not surprised when unscrupulous persons take advantage of young people and promising them honey, milk and honey, and they easily jump onto the bandwagon. And it's not exclusive to Russia. We've seen a number of them promise outrageous amounts in the Gulf states, Oman, Qatar, Bahrain, Dubai, Saudi Arabia, and the rest. Only for them to get there, their passports are taken away from them, and the life that they have been promised turns out to be a mirage. All right. So now it has become much more complicated with this Russian thing. And Johnny, the mortality rate in the war is very high because of the sophistication. I mean, it is also a drone war. The use of very sophisticated weapon system and the rest.
Right.
So the probability of you coming back alive is very low. But the saddest part of it is they don't usually know what they are getting themselves into until they get there. And that is the sad reality.
Does this reflect what we have become as a country, where people don't want to stay to fix the country? People want to leave and go and look for greener pastures elsewhere. Is this our reflection?
Well, I think it's 50-50. Because on one hand, I have spoken with persons who have started their businesses but couldn't get anywhere with it. The business climate, is it progressive enough? Which I was at an event by the Africa Center for Economic Action. And, they laid bare the fact that the private sector is not performing in recent years. And there's another report that indicated that about 80% of SMEs fail before their first anniversary. Okay? If you go to other regimes, like the Chinese, they support their local industries. That is why the EU, the US is very concerned about the Chinese electric vehicles coming into their market, because they feel it gives them an unfair advantage, because the Chinese government supports their industries, and so they are able to sell their vehicles at cheaper rates. Do we do that in Ghana? To what extent do we support initiatives and all that? I know efforts have been made in the past and even present, but I think we need to do more to encourage people to look beyond just wanting to sit in a banking hall with a white collar, and rather start their own businesses and, be successful with it. So I wouldn't entirely blame them for wanting to get out of the country. I was speaking with a friend of mine abroad, and according to him, he would want to come to Ghana. But he wants, the thing is, he has children, healthcare. How are they assured of adequate healthcare? That is his biggest issue. So there are a plethora, a number of issues that I think is pushing people to get out of the country. But anytime, Johnny, I have that opportunity, I tell them, look, stay back, fight, and you shall win. Because Ghana is a very rich country.
Adib, our Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the envoy in Russia are both aware of this story that has been done by Media Generals Godwin Asidiba. They have said nothing at this time. Is that a way to go?
I am just absolutely gobsmacked. I'm very disappointed. I'm shocked in the posture by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's the responsibility of the state to ensure the safety of its citizens, whether they are home or abroad, whether they are even guilty of a crime or not. I would have expected from day one they activate their diplomatic mechanisms to ensure these people are brought home, work closely with the Russian government. I would have also expected a statement at this time, because you see, Johnny, a lot of them go out of ignorance. They don't speak with family. They don't speak with people who can give them good counsel. They are promised $2,000 a week, $3,000, outrageous amount.
Right.
For jobs that actually don't exist. All right. So I would have expected at this time the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and their partners to issue at least a statement educating Ghanaians to abstain from going on such journeys. And I don't know what the state is doing about one-man supporter. Have we made any attempt to bring him in for questioning? What's going on? Because it looks like everybody is adamant about it. But it's a big issue. It's a major national security threat, if they care to know. That shouldn't be taken lightly. In fact, the first time, Johnny, I saw a video talking about a travel and tour company taking them to Russia to fight. They were in military fatigue with gangs. I immediately forwarded it to my contact within the security setup.
Right.
And they said, they were looking into it. To date, nobody has gotten back to me. But we are seeing a steady flow of young people to other countries, especially conflict hotspots, Libya, Sudan. Some even fought in Syria. Now we are having some in Russia. We don't even know the numbers. That is the saddest part of it. So the possibility that these people might come back to Ghana as Wagner operatives is very high. So where are we playing with a rather serious issue that I think the state should have paid more attention to in this manner?
Are you suggesting that these Ghanaians who are now trapped in Russia could be turned and returned to us, and then they could become spies or double agents? Is that what you're suggesting?
Not necessarily those that have been captured in Godwin's story. But what I'm saying is, beyond them, do we know how many more Ghanaians have gone to Russia and to join their ranks in Ukraine? We don't know. What if these people have been radicalized?
Right.
Or have, joined forces with Wagner, and now they are Wagner.
Right.
They come back home and operate sleeper Wagner cells, undermining the state in Ghana.
I see. Now,
so it is surely a cause for concern.
Adi, before I let you go, you have spoken about the economic situation and etc. But then, for their families who do not know that their people are there and they are begging and asking that, look, please help us. Let's not go on to the front line. What can we do as a country to make sure that our citizens are safe? Can we get into some arrangement with the Russian government?
Yes, there are diplomatic channels. I mean, a lot of diplomatic channels to explore. Beyond even speaking with the Russian authorities, through perhaps their embassy in Ghana, we could also speak with international organizations, even like the UN, to work with the Russian authorities to ensure the safety of these individuals. I don't know to what extent that is being done, but I am just shocked that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has not really shown concern in what is going on. And I would have also expected at this time the information would be put out there to educate Ghanaians about the dangers of embarking on such journeys. So, Johnny, there are so many ways the ministry can collaborate with other stakeholders to bring these people back home safely.
Adib Sani Jatike, thank you very much indeed for your time. We're grateful as always.
Pleasure is mine.
And Godwin, let's wrap up our conversation. So Adib says, well, there's hope. There's a way to bring them back. But have you tried reaching out to the ministry,
Yes.
to the embassy? What response did you get?
I've tried reaching the ministry, but it's the responses I'm getting is something I wouldn't really want to say on air now. But it doesn't look like it's positive. It doesn't look like we are getting a response from them soon, which isn't appropriate. They are aware that a number of Ghanaians go there and die. Those who are able to make their way into the country are always being picked up by some of them.
Right.
So they are aware of the thing that is happening. This is something that they could have, taken an action on even before such a story will break.
Right.
For now to come and be chasing responses and all of that. So they are aware of the situation. But this one has been brought to light, fortunately, and we were hoping that they will respond swiftly. And as a country that we claim we are developed, things are working, we should be able to take matters into our own hands and rescue our people when they are in danger in other countries. They should have responded by now, but they haven't. So I don't know what they are doing.
Each time these people, these Ghanaians who are trapped in Russia call you, what runs through your mind?
I try to put myself in their situation, because this morning, after the story broke, there were just 3 in the makeshift structure.
Right.
They brought the 2 back. This morning, they are taking 3 back to the front line. And when they are texting me, at a point, they stop because they can't even express themselves. They stop and then they send me voice notes. Godwin, omo ba omo ye den eden na ekoso omo ba and they say omo the bulletproof helmet aba no mo so mo be fire akọ me yem hihye me say sorry for my words this morning, but one said, "Meno kase yikra mihu text na the text in Russian, so they put it in Google and then it translates to English. English. They sent me a screenshot of that, and all kasani in not a toilet so, or say toilet akano. Some of them have blisters on because of the boots and the long distances that they walk, and they show me all of that." One guy in the second piece who is actually in the front line, it looks like an abandoned space with most like structures are broken down, and he actually mentioned that there were drones hanging up in the sky, and when they detect human movement, they just strike. So you can't go anywhere. You are just stuck at a particular place waiting for either a dead body to come or someone has been shot, wrap the leg, do this, go and supply food, or at a point where things get critical, they will take you there because you've undergone the training. So in such emergency situations where they are professional soldiers, you know, they are not able professional, they'll let you go and fight.
Gordon Asibra, thank you very much indeed.
Thank
It's
you,
some
Johnny.
13 minutes after 9. 3FM 92.7 Game Park is in the offing shortly. If you haven't played yet, 946 hash, star 946 hash, you get to play and you get to win some cash. But the reality is that, Helen, Chrome, aye, she.
She.
Fox Speed.